They like to use the word kill. This is Roger Thunder with Ancient Soul. I'm looking at the rhetoric, and in case you didn't know, we're at war with Iran. I think everybody should know this unless they're living in a dumpster or something and weren't made aware. But we're at war with Iran, and this started like 3 days ago. And this was no surprise by a lot of people about which way Trump would go with this. But the rhetoric blows my mind. That's the first thing I want to focus in on here. Because these press conferences were Heg's Breath, or whatever his name is, and Raisin Kane, and Trump himself, the rhetoric they're using is amazing. I mean, they just come right out and say, we're going to go in and kill you. That word's popping up a lot. Kill. We're going to kill. They use it over and over and over again. You better watch out. You better do what we say, or we're going to kill you. That sounds like Mafia talk to me. I mean, I try to reflect back on past presidents in my lifetime, and always a certain amount of decorum was used for the most part. They might say things like, we're going to go in and free the people and create a democratic, and we're sending in troops, and but to come right out and just get up there like some schoolyard bully or something and say, we're going to come kill you. When have you heard this before in the past? I mean, this is well, I'll tell you where you heard it before in the past. We're going to kill the savages. That's where you heard it. The indigenous nation heard this over and over again. Kill the savages. Kill them. Back in the days when the Mayflower boys and girls, probably mostly boys, came in here, and that, after a while, became the mantra, kill the savage. So basically what we're seeing now is, instead of hiding their true colors as killers of indigenous people, they're just not trying to hide it anymore. They're just coming right out and saying, we're going to kill you. Now, let me state right now, I'm not political at all. I always have to do this caveat. This is an indigenous person sitting here talking to you, and I couldn't give a shit about politics or government or the white man's way. But this, American people in general are being desensitized. They're being desensitized. This started with COVID. Desensitize people, isolate people, make people stand certain distances away from other people. That's a form of being desensitized, programmed. That worked. Not on everybody, obviously, but for the most part it worked. Shelter down, shelter in place. But when you think about the rhetoric they're using, just straight out, we're going to kill you. If you don't do what we say, we're just going to send out Tony and the boys. It's like back in Chicago in the 1930s with Al Capone. It's like you better do what we tell you to do when they try to go in and extort people, businesses, restaurants, bars, whatever. They sent the thugs in, okay, and said, you know what, you're going to do what we tell you to do, we're going to kill you and your family. So I'm glad I'm starting off with the rhetoric so you can kind of get the picture, the feel, the vibe of this corrupt government. And it, when you got guys like Hedge Breath, I won't even say his last name because the guy's so ridiculous. He's a big sissy, is what he is. Getting up there in his tight pants and his tight suit and his little string tie and acting like he's just God's gift to the war gods. The war gods are smiling on him. This guy's a prick. That's what he is, to be blunt about it. And so is Trump and everybody else associated with this. Well, all the analysts have been saying, man, if you start a war with Iran, which is incidentally is the cradle of civilization, that's where humanity was born from. If you start a war with Iran, you're not really you're biting off more than you can chew. Why? And I'll just run down this real quick because everybody's probably watching, the technical guys and everything, but I watch everything, so I think I can encapsulate it in a nutshell. Basically, what it amounts to is the West or United States doesn't have enough ammunition to shoot down all the drones. They're going to run out in a week. This is fact, people. They're going to run out in about a week and a half. Already 3 F-15 fighter jets have been shot down. They didn't think Iran had the capacity to do this, but they should have known better in the 12-day war back last year. They were already penetrating the Iron Dome with hypersonic missiles. And I said before, they have hypersonic missiles and the United States doesn't. So in 3 days, we got all kinds of shit hitting the fan. The Strait of Hormuz, where all the oil comes from, is being closed down by Iran. All the Arab Emirates and all these people, Jordan and all the ones that allow American military bases, are all being hit. And yes, they're getting through. There's no like fantastic iron dome or something like that that's going to stop a hypersonic missile, which are different than other missiles because they navigate, they can be steered around and things like that. So basically what it is it takes 3 or 4 missiles to try to hit one of their missiles or even one of their drones. And they're brilliant strategists because once they knew, and they told Trump right out front, if you attack us, it's all out. There's no pulling back any of that stuff. They learned their lesson. And this was in the middle of negotiations, which has been done, 5 times now. They have in various countries and stuff, have gone into negotiations and we're planning to go to Geneva or something like that. And guess what happens? While the people are gathering together to get their shit together to go to the meeting or whatever, and they're under the illusion that America is going to keep its word, that's when they attack. That's called a sneak attack and a breaking of diplomacy. Outright. No problem. We just break diplomacy. We'll just trick you. Well, those tricks are being viewed by other nations like Russia. And Russia and China, incidentally, are behind the scene on this. So at this point, it's hard to say where this will go. Trump's already reached out through Italy, I understand, to try to back off, to let's go back and negotiate. And they just said, no way, fuck you. And they know, okay, they know that they can't trust America, and nobody can. Nobody ever could, really. So that's it in a nutshell. That's where this is, and again, all the Arab Emirates and all the American bases and all the radar facilities and all the ports are being hit right now with missiles, maybe 700 a day, and so Iran is known to have, or is believed to have, at least 20,000 of these things underground, which they can't find. And they can't hit the underground bases. Trump bit the big one. I saw a cartoon today. Maybe I'll try to find it and put it as a thumbnail, but it popped up somewhere and it showed Trump down on his four knees, and he was like growing hair and he had ears like a donkey. Okay, and Bibi was Netanyahu was riding him like a bucking bronc, and oh, it was hilarious because the what that was trying to convey is that it's almost sexual, really. I don't even want to go there, but Trump is Netanyahu's punk, is what he is. And incidentally, that's a word that fits Pete too. Higgs breath. That's a word that would fit him too. These people are really cowards. Trump never served a day in his life or had any connection with any kind of military or anything like that. And baby Pete boy has tattoos all over his body, indicating that he's a racist, especially to the people in the Middle East. Not a whole lot of pictures out there, but there are pictures if you just Google it and say Pete Hedgeth without his shirt on or something. You can see tattoos all over. Man, he thinks he's just God's gift to the planet. He's the war god, not. Another thing that happened too is that when they sent all these fleets over there to the Middle East and the Red Sea and all that stuff, and were positioning themselves, they got chased away. The Abraham Lincoln is reported to have been chased away or even hit on the deck. So all these people, there's a lot of the military type channels like Daniel Davis and people like that. They're all like upset, and they served, and some of them were decorated and all that good shit. They're upset that even one service member would get killed and that people are going to come home in body bags. And here's another thing too: when the fog of war starts, good luck on trying to find out anything that's truthful, at least from the West. Now, perfect example of that is the West is saying, oh, there's been 4 fatalities, and recently I just glanced at something, looks like there's 2 more. There's 6. Are you kidding me, people? There's probably hundreds. And that's what Iran says. We've killed 500 servicemen in these. Well, when you see an explosion explode a whole radar facility, when you see an explosion in Dubai and places like this blow up a whole building, when you see explosions going up and ships going up in flames, or let's say the Gulf, the port going up in flames, you think 1 or 2, 3, 4 people are killed? Man, you really got to stretch for that one. No, it'll come out that hundreds are being killed. So the people that are all saying our boys are going to be killed, they are being killed. And for what? Because Iran was never an aggressor. Iran never tried to do anything. But there's the big, the big lie, the big propaganda, the big bullshit crap coming out of the mouths of these people that somehow Iran is just the biggest terrorist in the world, and they've caused more deaths, and Trump's up there spewing lie after lie after lie, because if you look this shit up, like Larry Johnson has, who appears on some of these shows, ex-CIA, if you look it up, look at the statistics, Iran's probably 12th on the list, way, way down, hardly does any of these things that they're accused of. Well, look at what it's really silly to kind of talk about terrorism, isn't it? When you see Israel in the last 12-day war leading up to it, back last year, where you used cell phones to blow up hundreds of people with bombs in the cell phones. Somehow they did that. That was interesting. Where they heated up the cell phones somehow and they all blew up. Did you forget about that one, people? Is that terrorism? Or how about the initial attack this time hit a school? Smack dab center in the school of a bunch of schoolgirls. I think the last count is like 120 schoolgirls, ages from 16, 2, 3, 4 years old on up through maybe 16. How would you like it if you sent your kid to school today or tomorrow and a rocket came down and blew the fucking school up? How would you feel about that? All these people that are rah rah, sis boom bah, the United States. Fuck the United States. You know? I think if I had my choice, I wouldn't be living here. If I was financially free, I'd be gone, baby. Count me out of this realm. Find me a desert island or somewhere. Bali or Tahiti where I can surf or, lay on the beach and forget that this fucking crazy world is even existing. The rhetoric is bad. It's desensitizing, and I'm going to come back to that because when you sit there and say every day, I'm going to kill you, kill them, just go kill them. We're going to kill them. If you hear that all the time from the President of the United States and the Secretary of Defense, and no, it's not the Secretary of War, idiot. When you hear that all the time, we're going to kill you. Well, you become desensitized. You just like, oh yeah, kill him, kill. That word doesn't bother me anymore. I've heard it a million times from the President. That's a lack of decorum. That's a lack of respect for your enemy, even. All this stuff about the rules of war, went right out the window a long time ago. Long time ago. The rules of war, And so here we are, people. Day 3, and already 3 F-15s have been shot out of the sky. And guess what? Go buy gas now. Because I warned you about this before. That's the first thing I did. Like a lot of good that'll do, but once that runs out, gas has already supposedly gone up $1 a gallon. Because there will be no more gas, people. The Straits of Hormuz, we get 30%, 25% of our gas. And Europe gets almost all of their LNG gas from the Straits of Hormuz. Well, they've already crippled a tanker over there. They're closing down the straits. They're checking all the boxes, Iran is. And these people aren't stupid. What makes you think they're stupid? Oh, and let me mention this. The Ayatollah Khomeini was killed right off the bat. Their spiritual leader. It's like killing the Pope, all right, to the Islam people. Right off the bat, him and 30 other people, they thought that was just, Trump was like, oh, this will be over just like Venezuela. No, this isn't Venezuela, brain box. What an idiot. It's not going to be over that quick. And so he unleashed a hornet's nest is what he did. He probably thought that this is a bluff, that they have 20,000, even if they just had 10 or 5,000, it's a losing game for Israel. And Israel is going to be blown off the face. It's already taking major hits. And what happens when they run out of these the ones that try to shoot down the anti-ballistic missiles, the Patriots or whatever? What happens in a week? Because they supposedly got 600. 600. And they're out there beating their chest. We're the greatest military force on earth. And what a big fucking bluff. Don't brag if you can't back it up. Or don't even brag anyway. That's silly ass shit, really. That's juvenile schoolyard bully shit. Gotta go out there and brag to the American people about what tough guys we are, and let's flex our muscles, and let's send a bunch of ships out, and you're paying high taxes and high food prices. And you think it's high now. Everything's made out of petroleum products. Wake up. Everything that you use practically, or is, even if it comes in a bottle that's plastic, is petroleum products. So what do you think's going to happen when the price of oil goes up to $120, $150 a barrel? And what do you think's going to happen with food prices? And it takes gas to get food to the grocery stores. And, this is catastrophic, people. And America is on the decline. This is like a desperation move. Some kind of desperation move, like Gerald Celente always says. I don't know if you've seen that guy. He's one of my favorites. Old Jazzer comes out. He's got a rag that he publishes. If all else fails, take them to war. That's what he always said. If all else fails, the economy's failing, everything's failing, can't get our shit together, can't get the financial order together. Well, that's been a mantra that goes way, way back. Take them to war. Take them to war. Go to war. We'll make money on war somehow. It's the same playbook over and over and over. Aren't you getting sick of it? Somebody that's been around a while, like myself, looks at this shit and goes, really, again? But see, this time it's different. This time it's different. And let me tell you how it's different. When you got the whole Middle East on fire, and you got the high rollers in Dubai and all these plush oil-producing places with their princes and their sultans and all this shit, when you get them put out of commission, they're half of the people that support the military complex, and they're involved in politics, and they're involved in all kinds of shit, along with the Zionists. So the Zionist is Israelis, the Zionists, People like Bibi and that and the Sultan, they're in bed together. They're lovers. On a financial level, it's like one hand washes the other. So what's happening now, people? Well, they're all being hit. Even their plush hotels are being hit. I don't know if you're following this shit, but Iran kept its promise. They said if you so much as, and they killed their spiritual leader right out front. And the first thing you might say is, how the fuck did they do that? Didn't this guy know how to hide in a bunker or, get out of the way or get out of the country or make a fast exit till this shit's all over with? No, that's not what he did. And see, that's where these fucking morons don't understand spirituality of any level or religion. Because to them, it's a pleasure to die. To them, when they die for their faith, all right, or let's say the Ayatollah or the country, when they die for their country, it's a martyrdom. They love it. I mean, if you gotta go, the guy's 86 years old, so he didn't hide. He didn't hide at all. Even his daughter and his grandkid. So his daughter and his grandkid were in this house that he usually lives in, and he was having a meeting with other people, and they probably were wanting to be martyrs too. Who knows? But he didn't try to hide, and a statement was put out as like, I'm not going to kill this guy. If you look at the Ayatollah Khomeini, was a warrior. He'd been through all kinds of things in his life defending his people, and he was also an intellectual and a poet and a writer. Could speak several languages. Was against having a nuclear weapon, which was their big idea that they wanted to go in and because he had a nuclear weapon, which was a lie. They've been saying this for like 40 plus years. Bibi and all these guys. They're going to have a nuclear weapon any day, just like the weapons of mass destruction with Iran. Iraq, I mean. This is just lie after lie after lie after lie. And guess what? Now it's getting to bravado. It's getting to where they don't give a fuck if they just come out and say, we're just going to go in and kill them. What are we living in here? Downtown New York or Pennsylvania with the Mafia lives on the corner over here? This is the desensitizing of the American population with crude language. Okay. Now, yeah, some people are going to say, well, you say fuck and stuff. Well, yeah, but I'm me. I'm not the president of the United States, all right? I'm allowed, okay? And they're allowed too, but that's not decorum. That's not government decorum. That's not proper societal decorum for a president to just come out and wail and whine and make threats in his little fucking white hat. Looks like a joke. What a joke this guy is. Ran on the platform of peace, and all these MAGA heads went out there and voted for him because we're not going to have any wars anymore, and we're not going to, it's a peace platform and no regime change. No regime change, and that's the first fucking thing he says he was going in there for. We got to change the regime in there. It's just, the guy's a murderous thug, and he's this and he's that, and it's just lie after fucking lie. It's sickening. When you watch this shit, it's not really what's going on that bothers me. It's not like there's wars and all that, because that's going on anyway. It's going on anyway. What really bothers me is how mankind, the morality of it. Just outright lie after lie after lie. The great Satan is what the Middle East people call America. And the Bible says the great Satan is the father of the lie. Well, hello. If they're lying all the time, lie after lie after lie, and they're the head of the government, and the government is controlled by liars and propagandists and snake oil salesmen and punks like Pete the Punk, and Trump the Rump, because that's where he takes it from Netanyahu. Controlled, Zionist controlled, which gets into secret societies and Illuminati and all that other stuff. Jared Kushner, the premier Zionist Jew, Witkoff, all these guys, they're puppets. Either that or they're part of the control mechanism. What's really funny now is that they're calling all these nations, like they're calling it the Epstein, because Trump was trying to hide the Epstein thing with all this, one of the reasons. And now all these nations they're calling Trump and America the Epstein crew or the Epstein government, or that's what they're calling it. Okay, just so people don't forget that that's what he's trying to do, cover up this shit. I must say the strategy, who's ever behind the strategy on the Iranian side so far, is scoring 10. Because they didn't see, the big thing was Trump said, I'm going to go in there and take out every missile site, and I'm going to take out their nuclear weapons, and I'm going to take out this. Wait a minute, didn't you just say back in the 12-day war that you bombed the place to hell and took out all their nuclear weapons? And now you're saying you're going to go in because they got nuclear weapons? Hello? That's George Orwell's doublespeak right out front, 1984. Right in your face. And is that the attention span or the memory span of the average American who is close to like 50%, somewhere in that category, illiterate, can't read? The attention span is like 1 week before you say or a month before, or a couple months before you say you eliminated the nuclear capability of Iran, and then a few months later we got to go in because they got nuclear capability. Hello? Are you that stupid, people out there? Not my viewers, hopefully. But that's one thing that just doesn't make sense. And then no, it was regime change, and this guy's a head of a chain of killers. Wait a minute, this is the guy that's saying, we're going to kill you, we're going to kill you. And he's saying, they're a head of a chain of killers. Then he goes in and blows up 100 schoolgirls. First rocket in there. It's almost like, it's like the movie Twilight Zone. It's like, is this real? Could this be real? People have such a low moral compass, or no moral compass, that they're just going to go in and just, well, that shouldn't surprise people when they blew up those 85 or 120 or whatever it was schoolgirls. That shouldn't surprise people, since they've been going into Gaza and killing tens of thousands of people, infants. It's like, that shocks people? That they would do that? Doesn't shock me. It's like, but when it comes to war, that's probably a big mistake to go in and right off the bat just kill, from the get-go, because that can be used against you. I mean, there's film of it and everything. And we got the fog of war too. You hear all these stories, and you got AI too. See, so we're in a situation right now where you got to search for real footage of what's going on, and you got to search for real reports. I'm not AI, so you're getting a real report here. I'm not an AI voice. I'm not an AI person. I'm not a programmed individual, all right? When you see me, that's one of the benefits about coming on this channel. You know you're going to talk to a real person. And this real person is not giving you spin, because I don't give a fuck about politics at all. To me, it's the devil. It's for all you Christians out there, I'll use that term, because that's what you'll understand. It's Satan himself. I mean, the whole political system, organized religion, governments, anything that eliminated the indigenous people of this, the colonists, the colonialists, they're Satan themselves, as far as I'm concerned. If you want to come from a Christian viewpoint, who's the greatest adversary in the world right now, and has been for quite some time, with their sanctions and hegemonic belief systems. And well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, or it doesn't, unless you don't have two brain cells you could rub together. Forget it. But you could figure this stuff out real easy. But if you can, I'm telling you. I've been watching this stuff for years. The whole eschatological, I'll get it out, eschatological, which means a study of the end times. People that study the end times and try to figure out biblically what the fuck's going on, or what's going to happen next. What's the timeline here? What are the signs that we can see that it's the end of the world, and what will the end of the world bring about, and what will happen, and all that good shit. So the Jews are bought into, along with the Christians and evangelical Christians, are bought into, they believe fully that they're God's chosen people, and that they're here to fulfill a purpose. Hold on. Sorry, my phone went off there, and I didn't want to alarm everybody there. Damn, that thing's loud sometimes. Eschatology, looking at the end times. Their playbook, or their script, or their scripture, I should say, is to follow what the scriptures say. In other words, in order for the end times to come, God's chosen people have to have a direct attack on them. They have to, and that's exactly what they have orchestrated right now. You see what I'm saying? They have orchestrated this event through their I don't know why my webcam goes light and dark and all that shit. They have orchestrated an event that is in alignment with script, or scripture. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling, we will make this prophecy, we will fulfill this prophecy. And that's sick. That's what that is. That's like Stockholm Syndrome, or being captivated by a ideology. Same one that destroyed all the natives that were here, and are still here, but a lot less. The red man, the indigenous nation. And what are these people over there? They're tribal, they're indigenous, they're people of color. And I did videos about ICE. And there's another thing that's kind of phenomenal. Everything is ICE, 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 ICE. You know, ICE is this and ICE is that. And, you know, what they're doing and all this shit. And they are doing it. Killing people and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you got this war, and what happens? Whoop! There goes ICE. It's off the radar. It's off the even in the alternative community. It's like all gone. Guess what? They're still in force out there, and they're still doing the same thing. So this is like the perfect distraction. World War III. Well, what can we conjure up here that will distract people from ICE killing people, innocent citizens on the street, like the Gestapo? You know, how can we divert the attention? And then I also did a video about the Nancy Guthrie thing. What a joke that! Oh, that's kind of disappearing now. That'll probably, but they'll resurrect that later on. You know. I mean, my head just spins about how fucking stupid people are and their attention span. I feel like a privileged individual, I really do, on one level, and then on another level, it's like, I remember all this shit. I look at all the immorality and the killing and the lying and the propaganda. I remember it all. I got a mind like a fucking steel trap. I got a photographic memory. I've got a memory of somebody that is normal, beyond normal, all right? Even the normal person can't remember the shit I remember. And it's all up there, and so I don't forget, and so I come on here and I talk about the discrepancies. So you should be thankful that you actually get to listen to a non-spinning, non-partisan person that believes in higher consciousness, morality. See, you don't have to be a Christian, you don't have to be a religious person to have a higher consciousness and morality. That comes through enlightenment. That comes through practice. That comes through discipline. And people like us know full well, right, when you're in this discipline, what's going to knock you off balance, okay, out of the discipline. And that's events of the world, events going on in the world. But if you have a warrior soul, it's kind of hard to ignore it. And if you have the soul of somebody that is trying to warn, or let's say, yeah, warn's a good word, make people aware, warn. But hell, I mean, you know, I've been doing this for years, and it's like been progressively getting worse and worse. I've said many times, it's at critical mass. And then I look back and it's like, it just kind of faded out, and then another critical mass situation came up, and that faded out, and another critical mass situation. And it's like, how does this shit fade out? Okay, how does it fade out when it's at critical mass is what you have to ask yourself. And it's like, why are they doing this? Why are they getting people all hyped up, and you know, in anxiety mode? And more people are becoming aware, you know, when I say that everybody's brain dead out there, not everybody. You know, there's a lot of people that, through various means, alternative shows and whatever, are like waking up to the fact that, and sometimes I wonder, you know, when I see these MAGA comments, these moronic, absolutely low level, low frequency, low IQ comments where people are just, you know, gung-ho on self-destruction and standing behind a certain person or something like that, I just like got to think that either a good part of the population is fucked up in the head, or they're trolls, they're bots. Maybe not that many people feel that way. Maybe they're filtering in bots and robots and robotic comments. And see, that's the problem with AI, people. Is like, is it real or is it Memorex? You know, that old commercial, you know, for cassette tapes. The Memorex were such high quality tapes that you didn't even know. It was like, is that real music or is that Memorex? Well, it's gone way beyond that now. It's like in the fucking ozone as far as what you could tell is real and what you could tell isn't. So anyway, you're being conditioned, people. You're being conditioned and brainwashed and sold a bill of goods and desensitized. The desensitizing of the masses. All right. Kill, kill. I'm surprised they haven't come out and said, we're going to fucking kill them. I'm surprised they haven't gone that far. But just kill and obliterate and all these like morbid fucking terms. Get a fucking life, Trump. We're going to kill them and obliterate them and we're going to... You idiot. You know, no-mannered idiot. How about manners? How about respect for your fellow man? Even enemies back in the samurai days or whatever enemies where there were wars, there was respect for the enemy, respect for the whatever. A certain amount, just the fact that they were a warrior that you had to face. But you just come right out and say, we're going to squat, it's like saying, I'm going to step on you like an ant. I'm going to, it's mean, it's vicious, it's vile, and it's braggadocio, and it's idiocy is what it is. And they're projecting their idiocy out onto the populace and saying, be an idiot like me. Woof, 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 MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. Be an idiot like me. Put on a little trucker's hat on your head. And not the cool kind either. Come to think of it. It's like the hats they wear like the old CBDs. 10-4, good buddy. Idiots. So anyway, I don't want to carry this on too long. I get my point out there. But you're being desensitized. You're being, I try to give you a little bit through my intel base as to what's going on. And I don't lie. I don't have any reason to lie. Hell, if this thing ended tomorrow, if this thing just, which I hope, that the Iranians, once they get the upper hand, they don't make the same mistake again, because they're going to get fucked if they do. I'm no fan of this country, the government. I love the nature, the country, the landscape, the land, the natural order of things. Love that. But when I see people destroying this shit or putting it in jeopardy, think I have any love for it, especially since my background is an indigenous person? No, not at all. Bye-bye. We're all suffering anyway. It's like we're all on the reservation. And the people on the reservation are 10 times worse suffering. It's only the people that, cling to their material things that are really going to suffer. People that are used to the bucks rolling in, and even if they're spending it like it's going out of style, when they don't have that option of that lifestyle anymore, they're going to be lost. They're going to be in shock. So rather than get shocked then, why not gear up for the possibility that you could be shocked and be prepared for it anyway? I always try to do this stuff because I feel it's like my purpose. One of these days, people might start paying attention. But I got enough paying attention for some people to, and you should comment. And I know everybody says you should comment because if you comment, that boosts the algorithm and like the video and all that stuff. I should say all that stuff. But I'm saying you should comment for real if you like. You want to chime in here and say, hey, you know what, Thunder? We dig what you're saying. You're truthful. You're spot on. And if you don't think I'm spot on, tell me why. I'm all ears. If you got, if you got an argument you want to lay out there in front of me, if it's reasonable, if it's just bullshit, if it's just, an insult or something, I'll just delete it, but at least comment. I'm my own moderator. I don't allow YouTube to moderate. I allow everybody to come on there and, I'll look at it and go, boy, that guy's fucked up. There's no sense in even replying to him or that girl. Boom, they're gone. But if you make a reasonable argument based on facts or your point of view, or you have some kind of bone to pick, let me know. Otherwise, I think you're just kind of like not paying attention or something. So I'm going to leave it there today. This is Thunder with Ancient Soul. Until I see you next time, which could be any time or could be a long time or whatever. It's just when the mood strikes me, When the mood strikes me, I come out. And when the spirit strikes me, okay? When the higher consciousness says, you know what? Something really rings a bell with me, like the kill word over and over and over again. Something that is, most people just shine on. Think back really about when they started using the kill word. We're going to kill them. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Adios and wopila, which means thank you, and aho.